So it's week 5, and 3 out of the 4 teams in the NFC South were active this week. Of course, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had their bye week early on in the season. So in this video, we're going to recap what happened all around the division, from the Saints primetime game to the Panthers' last-second victory. We're starting right now. What up, dude? What's up, everybody? It's Aaron Duncan here with the Necessary Bluntness Sports Talk. This is a channel we might not tell you what you want to hear, but I'm definitely going to tell you what you need to hear. On this channel, I give recap and analysis of the best division in the NFL, the NFC South, along with recap and analysis of the whole NFL in general. So if you want to see more videos, make sure you hit the subscribe button below so you don't miss anything. Hit the bell icon, get the video a thumbs up. But like I said, make sure you hit the bell icon. That way, you get a notification anytime a video is dropped and you won't miss anything. We're going to start off with the most dramatic game of the week, the Carolina Panthers taking on the New York Giants. This game was probably the wackiest game and the best game you'll probably see all weekend, of course. The Panthers jumped out pretty early on the Giants because the Giants struggled a little bit. OBJ, of course, had his comments earlier in the week, and he had a blunder on punt. And Colin Jones actually recovered it for a touchdown. So that was pretty good to see the special teams come through on there. And, of course, the special teams came through with the game-winning field goal by Graham Gano from 63 yards. I had the confidence in his leg, in the distance for his leg. But as far as accuracy, I'm not going to lie. And I almost had a heart attack watching that game come down to the stretch as the Panthers drove down that field. It was a little too close of a call for me, but a win is a win. But let's get into some of the details. Offensively, it was a pretty good all-around game for everybody. Everybody touched the ball, spread around for Christian McCaffrey. Curtis Samuel returned from his heart issue, and he went beast mode on a screen pass and scored his first career touchdown, which was beautiful. DJ Moore got involved with a pretty good run. He showed his yard after catch ability, especially he had a big-time catch in the final drive to help set up the game-winning field goal. Cam Newton, he was up and down, of course. He had some pretty good runs to convert, but he fumbled, we got bailed out a little bit, and he also had 2 interceptions. One wasn't his fault, according to Ron Rivera, because of miscommunication with Ian Thomas. You can kind of see Ian Thomas not running the correct route per se, but the second one was all on him. And also the defense dropped a couple other picks. Cam was kind of up and down with what he saw. This is the first time we've kind of seen him kind of unsure of what he's seen out there defensively, but he kind of cleaned up for it and put us in position towards the end to have a chance to make that 63-yard field goal. Christian McCaffrey had a pretty balanced game. He didn't have a big rushing game like he did before the bye week against the Bengals. However, he had a pretty good all-around game, catching and running. He scored a touchdown out actually to help give the Panthers a lead late in the game before the Giants came back and took the lead. Moving on to the defense. The defense gave up a lot of yards, way too many than I'm comfortable with. On the ground, they held Saquon Barkley to 48 yards rushing, which is pretty great. 50 yards overall for the Giants, which is awesome. Game tempo kind of dictated that because once they got a lead and they tried to be stubborn with the run, the Panthers were pretty stout. So the Giants realized they needed a pass to get back in the game. They gave up a lot of yards through the air also. I think Eli had 326. They had 370 something overall. The defense did pretty well. I can't even take nothing from it up until that trick play by Odell Beckham Jr. to Saquon Barkley on a double pass. Those things happen every now and then. You don't play this thing too often, so stuff like that is going to get away, and it was just good timing by their coach to call that play. It gave them a spark, and once they found something in the pass game, Eli started getting a little bit more confident. Yes, he did throw back-to-back picks to us, but him and Cam were throwing back and forth with it. You have to be proud of that. They call it the sudden change defense, like how your defense stands up right after the offense turns it over. So even though Eli was giving them the ball, Cam was giving it right back. The defense stood tall. They only gave up 1 field goal out of the scenario. They also got a pick. Mike Adams had 2 picks. Dante Jackson, he dropped a pick. He also got burnt down the end by Russell Shepard. Dante Jackson kind of been up and down. He's pretty fast and aggressive, so he kind of gets in trouble kind of looking in the backfield and trusting his speed a little bit too much. He'll learn more with more experience, though. Bradbury, he gave up a lot of yards to Odell Beckham. However, he did make some plays. He had a pass breakup in the end zone that took points off the board early on, which kind of changed the outcome of the game a little bit and changed the game flow, which was able to help the Panthers maintain that lead. So you got to be proud of how he did outside. He's had tough sledding these past few weeks, but Bradbury will get a test. We'll definitely get to find out what he has in there. The pass rush I was a little disappointed in. I think most teams have figured out that if you just get the ball out quick, the Panthers aren't going to be able to get to you quick. Most of our stats come on effort. We're not just whooping anybody off the line in one-on-one matchups. Aaron Washington said that he's going to work on getting that, and people who are one-on-one have to get a bit more pressure. With Thomas Davis coming back, probably the best blitzing linebacker, I'll look for this to improve, and I expect the Panthers defense to improve going down the stretch. I don't expect them to play that bad. They've been playing pretty balanced offensively and defensively, though, but you got to respect what they're doing. They look pretty good. Game-winning field goal, you take them how they go. Not every win's going to be pretty, but they got it done. So let's talk about these Atlanta Falcons. Where do we start? So after 3 straight home games, the Falcons finally went on the road up to Pittsburgh, the Heinz Field, to take on the Steelers. It was a matchup that everybody expected to be a track meet. However, we didn't expect it to be so one-sided. 41-17 was the final score. You kind of knew how the game was going to go after the first 2 drives when the Steelers pretty much marched down the field. And there's a lot of missed tackles, and James Conner ended up punching it in for a touchdown. Same missed tackles we've been seeing for the past few weeks from the Falcons. Also on the next drive, they try to go down the field. They try to trick play. There was a illegal procedure on the Wildcat play. Then Matt Ryan gets sacked on the next play and drives over. So after that, you kind of know how the rest of the game's going. That's pretty much how it was. Matt Ryan was sacked 6 times. I don't know if the Falcons just thought that it was just a bad matchup, or if they thought that TJ Watt was really JJ Watt and they didn't want to block him, or what. But their front went off on the Falcons, and it kind of pretty much negated the return of Devontae Freeman. They were really out of the game early on, so they didn't have to abandon the running game. However, it just seems like they couldn't get anything consistent going enough to give the defense any chance. I mean, the defense really didn't play great either. Like I said, we've been seeing missed assignments for the past few weeks. We've been seeing missed tackles. They're not playing complimentary football. It's really hard to watch, honestly, at this point. And I know there's been a ton of injuries. We've all heard about that, but it's been 3 or 4 weeks since the injuries have really hit them. And eventually the guys that are playing have to get better. I mean, they're playing a lot more snaps than usual. They're going to have to learn on the fly, understand there's going to be some growing pains, but when are you going to grow out of the growing pains? There's got to be some kind of time where something clicks or the light bulb goes off and you actually start putting stuff together and performing. Fundamentals like tackling and knowing where you're supposed to be, that is kind of inexcusable after a while. Not to mention, these are some of the corners that are original stars like Trufa and Alfred that are getting burnt, committing these penalties, and it's really kind of hard to wrap your head around what all is going wrong. However, I'm not going to talk too much about the defense because I've already said my piece about them in weeks prior. It's pretty much been the same story. Let's move on to the offense. So the Steelers haven't been great defensively all season, but they had a game of their life today. Like I said, they sacked Matt 6 times. The offensive line really didn't seem like they could get anything going. When they've seen to face a team that has a big guy in the middle, they seem to struggle. I mean, Alex Mack is the best lineman on the team. However, he's kind of leading a bunch of guys to war, and he's a bunch of average guys at best. I mean, above average. Some of the guys are above average, but Alex Mack and this finesse type of offense they have with the zone blocking, they're not going to be able to match up against certain teams, and this is just a bad matchup. The crazy part is you see AB going off and having these bombs and 2 touchdowns, getting all these catches, and you wonder why can't our guy, Julio Jones, do that himself? I don't know why. There seems to be some kind of disconnect. I don't know if Julio commands too much attention or what, but it's just weird that every other superstar receiver can get the ball except Julio. In special teams, this is the second block punt in like the past 3 weeks. Something's got to give, man. Like first it was the Saints, now it's this time against the Steelers. I don't know if they see something on film that they just figured out, but that's inexcusable. Block punts rarely happen in the NFL, and for the Falcons to have 2 of those within 3 weeks, it's inexcusable. Something needs to tighten up on their end. Somebody needs to get fired. I don't know what. They need to figure out what's going on film that everybody else is seeing and get that corrected ASAP. But like I said, there's not too much you can say about the team that hasn't been said because it's the same problems clearly that keep festering up. Are they going to get it right? I don't know. They have the Buccaneers at home this week. The Buccaneers have the worst defense in the NFL right now, so you expect the Falcons to air it out and be able to get what they want. We've seen Julio have amazing games against these guys, so you expect them to play well on that front. Granted, their defense has been trashed too, and Jameis plays pretty good against the Falcons, not to mention he's coming off that bye week after suspension. He's going to be hungry this year because they're kind of wondering what they're going to do with him and his future going forward. So I expect a lot of fireworks in this game again, especially since it'll be in the Dome. I'll give a preview of the game on my Wednesday live stream, but for now, I'll leave it at that. Let's move on to the Saints. Going to this game on Monday night in prime time against the Redskins, the Saints, you knew what time it was. See, Drew Brees was 201 yards from the all-time passing yardage record in NFL history, so you knew the spotlight was going to be on that. You didn't know we were expecting to happen sometime late second half, third quarter-ish, for who knows what kind of game, depending on the game tempo, how it would go. No, this guy got this thing out the way in the first quarter, and it was a bomb to Traquan Smith. You want to talk about Swiss cheese of a secondary. You think the Saints secondary is suspect? The Redskins had more blown coverages than I've ever seen before, and with guys like Swearinger, Josh Norman in the secondary, you don't really see that happen too much often. However, with Ted getting out, it was good to see Tre'Quan Smith have a breakout game, and for him to catch the bomb from Drew Brees, it was a breath of fresh air for Drew Brees on his end, and a breath of fresh air for the Saints, because I talked about the emergence of second and third weapon for the Saints at receiver besides Michael Thomas, and if Tre'Quan Smith can keep this up, it would be a good sight for the Saints going forward. Cameron Meredith had a great game also, so it was good to see the guys pick up the slack with Ted getting out. But you got to take your hat off to Drew Brees, the regular. You knew he was going to get it. I mean, he's been passing for a ton of yards every year at a high completion percentage rate. He was bound to do it. He may go over 80,000 if he ends up playing the rest of this year and comes back next year. I know there's a little muddle and murmurs of retirement today with the article about something about him going back on him talking about paying till 45. However, he has 2 years left on his contract, so I expect him to at least play that out, especially with the Saints having a mild Super Bowl window open for them to go ahead and get Brees his second ring. Speaking of breakout performances, I know you guys saw Marcus Davenport, and I know you guys were happy about the performance he laid out today. He got he had a sack today on a pretty good stunt he had, and I think they gave him credit for that second sack. It was a forced fumble on Alex Smith where he got there. He also had a nasty tackle for a loss, and this guy pretty much showed his athleticism. He was going against Trent Williams, one of the bigger and more athletic offensive tackles in the NFL, so it was good to see him get that experience like that against a guy like that. Him and Cameron Jordan had a great game getting at the Alex Smith, and the defense pretty much kept Alex Smith nervous in the pocket. He was throwing inaccurate passes. They ended up picking him off one time on just a bonehead pass by him. The bad part, of course, is seeing Marshawn Lattimore go down with his second concussion in his 2-year career. Friendly fire from A.J. Klein. Luckily, the bye week is coming up, so he'll have time to get through concussion protocol and pass those 5 steps that he needs to clear before he's able to play. Hopefully, he'll be ready to play on the back end of the bye week. He'll get all the rest that he needs, but a second concussion in 2 years is kind of concerning, clearly, because the more you get them, the easier it is to get them over and over again. So we'll see what happens. Maybe he'll get the little collar thing that Luke Kuechly wears that helps squeeze your neck and inflates your brain. That way your brain doesn't jiggle in your skull. I don't know what they're going to do. He's a corner. He doesn't have too much contact all the time, but you never know. Like I said, the slightest thing can get those things triggered from now on, the more frequent that you get them. So that'll be something to pay attention to, but you got to be happy with how Marcus Davenport played. The secondary, they did okay initially making plays, but towards the end, of course, they got beat by a couple bombs, but P.J. Williams played pretty good. He made some plays. He almost assassinated Adrian Peterson in the first drive of the game. So it was good to see them physical and confident. Guys seem to play a lot better at home in these conditions. However, you guys let me know down below what you thought about the game. All the games, actually. How do you think this division is going to shape up? The Saints are in first place right now, but of course they play one more game than the Panthers, so the Panthers have lost one game also, and they're in position. The Falcons and the Bucs will face off. Let me know how you think this division is going to shape out down below in the comments. But without further ado, I'm Aaron Duncan signing off for the Necessary Blunt Sports Talk. I'll see you next time.